Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am Dave Brown, and this is the New Populist. If you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe. Well, we have this news of the potential indictment of Donald Trump on Tuesday, and that has everybody in a tizzy. Trump supporters are losing their mind, rightfully so, because this is absolute corruption at its worst. And when I first heard it myself, I too was annoyed. And the more I thought about it, though, the more I started to think that this could be the ultimate backfire for Democrats, for the deep state, who I think is ultimately behind this. And why do I say that? Well, there's this saying, if your enemy is making a mistake, do not disturb him. And what is Trump doing, or what has Trump done recently that could be a huge mistake? And for me, it has been his attacks on Ron DeSantis. I spoke about this in another video. When Trump attacked Republicans in 2016, it was fantastic because we Republicans in the base, we collectively hated Jeb Bush and Chris Christie, Marco Rubio. We couldn't stand those guys. So when Trump went after them and tore new ones, it was a great thing, right? But unfortunately, in 2024, we have a Ron DeSantis, which is the other Republican with probably the best chance of getting this nomination, who the base generally likes. And these last few months, Trump has been attacking Ron DeSantis in ways that has made me cringe. And I hate saying it because I was a Trump supporter in 2016 and 2020, and I wanted to see him run again in 2024. But when I saw him take this campaign strategy of just trashing Ron DeSantis, I thought to myself, this is self-destructive. This is making him look bad. It's not having the same effect it had 7 years ago. So now he might have been given a lifeline. And that is these corrupt Democrats in New York operating for the deep state and potentially arresting him on Tuesday. And if they do that, they will take Trump's attention off of Ron DeSantis, and it'll focus his attention on the people that we can't stand, the corrupt deep state. And that's a great thing for Republicans and a great thing for this Republican primary process if we can get Trump refocused on the real bad guys and not waste his time attacking Ron DeSantis in very, very cringy ways. Now, Republicans, where do Republicans stand themselves in Congress? There's been a couple of statements. We have heard from the leader, Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, tweeting out that he is looking into this issue and this is corruption and blah, blah, blah. Does this actually mean anything? I don't think so. How many times have Republicans said, we're gonna look into something because all these dirty Democrats, and then 6 months go by, a year go by, nothing happens, right? So we're all used to the song and dance from Republican leaders saying they're going to get to the bottom of it and then do absolutely nothing. And I think McCarthy understands, too, that Republicans, Trump supporters, they're irritated. So he has to give them something, even if he knows eventually it'll pan out to be absolutely nothing. And, Trump himself put this news out there on Truth Social, and he said that he would be arrested. And why did Trump do this? Yes, for attention, because it's Donald Trump. But I think there's another important component here. Let's think back to Richard Nixon back in '73. He had recently won an election in a landslide. He was a very popular president if you look at his electoral victory in '72. But when he was in this, obviously, this Watergate scandal, they came to him, the congressional Republicans, and said, hey, support for you is not very good. Look at the polling numbers. If you don't resign, we will impeach and remove you from office. Now, this is back in 73. There's no Twitter, there's no social media, there's no computers. All you have is mainstream media, a few channels, and the papers. So Nixon was isolated and had no real way to connect with the base and to see what they actually thought. And Trump, on the other hand, is able to do that with social media. And when it comes to social media, Donald Trump is the master. And so he can reach out to his base and get that response from them to potentially scare Democrats and the establishment from going ahead with these indictments. So he's sort of preempting it, getting people all riled up to see if that can scare off the Democrats in New York. But would they actually indict him? And I made a video about this, and I said at the time, they absolutely would. They have broken every precedent when it comes to U.S. presidents with Donald Trump. If they think they can get away with it, they will absolutely frog march him in handcuffs in front of television cameras if they could do it and get away with it. So they absolutely will if they can. The only reason they might not, again, because they too might worry about this backfiring and this actually helping Donald Trump. And the last thing I want to bring up to you as well is Alvin Bragg was supported by George Soros. And it's funny, I recently made a video about the fact that Republicans talk about George Soros being so corrosive in the United States, so terrible and corrupt and undermining our system. Yet George Soros spends hundreds of millions of dollars in Ukraine and in Georgia doing what? The same thing he's doing here, undermining governments, undermining the process. So we're starting to see right now Republicans going, oh man, this Alvin Bragg guy, he is supported by George Soros. What about Ukraine? What about Georgia? Not a peep. So once again, we have the recognition by Republicans of George Soros' actions that they are very conveniently ignoring in Eastern Europe because they support the neoconservative view on foreign policy, and they hate Russia and they want to see Russia destroyed, so they will ignore the activities of Soros in those two countries. Again, Republicans, God, terrible. Maybe one or two in the Senate that are okay, a few in the House. This is what we're dealing with. A very corrupt party that is not much better, unfortunately, than the Democrats. But that's life for us. Trump supporters, us anti-establishment Americans who understand just how corrupt and messed up our government is. And that's what we are fighting back against. Well, that's it for now. Again, if you are new to this channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.